You happy? I finally did it. Okay? Damn, stop harassing me over it. Fuck. So the last time I did one of these videos, I was sitting like this, but the difference was it was warm outside. So I'm just gonna let you know right now, we're doing this inside the car because it's too cold out here. I'm tired of freezing. My last few videos have been in the cold, including ones y'all haven't seen yet. And no more of this. Jesus Christ, I'm tired of it. So as of today, as of like me actually recording this, it has been 2 years and 13 days since I've been living in a car, or I think like 744 days. It's been a milestone, I guess you could call it that. It's been an adventure. It's been, I don't really know like what the word to call it, but it's been an experience. That's the word I was looking for. It's been an experience. There's been a lot of ups, there's been some downs, and there's been a lot more ups, I guess, to say the least. And, you know, I figured, you know, let's really talk about it here and like what I've gone through, what I've learned, and just like the ramifications of everything. As a while back when I first started doing this, and I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but I said, expect more people to be living like this as, you know, the housing crisis continues. And I did that back in what, March of 2023 or so. I don't remember. I'm gonna try to find a video. It's somewhere like, and all the videos I'll upload, they're like kind of scattered in the beginning. So if it's up, you'll see it here. But as time has progressed, guess what happened? More and more people are living like this. So like getting everything out the way, for me, this has kind of been like a positive, it's been a positive experience doing this whole living in a car thing. These 2 years, honestly, for me, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, really just flew by. For some people, not so much. Like I've been looking at other people's content over TikTok and over here, who also like going through the same thing. And for a lot of them, it's been more of a slow burner. In fact, if for whatever reason you happen to be one of those people who is also living in a car and you found this video, first and foremost, what I want to say is, you're still alive. Remember that. You're still alive and you have control of your situation. Despite whatever else is going on in your life, remember that first and foremost. You have your health, hopefully. You're breathing, which is a good thing. And you have an ability to control your outcome. And that's what I kind of really wanted to talk about here as doing this, right, over the last 2 years. That's kind of what, you know, have gotten out of all of this, which is just being able to control my destiny. Now, I'm not really sure if I should give a backstory again, but I don't know who's going to see this, so I'm just going to go back into my backstory once more, like how this came about. So trying to make a long story short, especially because I don't really have much light and I want to like do this with good lighting. My family got evicted when I went off to school. Now, I went off to school late, I was 25, right? And decided I want to change my life. I'm going off to school. Well, I was already in community college, but I decided I was going to go off to university. So I did that. Family gets evicted like immediately after that happened. I left September, got evicted October. Now, obviously, if that happened, that means there was like some stuff brewing that was leading up to that, which is obvious. I'm not really going to get into all that. It's not really relevant at this point. But because of that, I was basically like a homeless university student and was living in hotels and motels and blah, 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 blah. Fast forward, graduate 5 years later because I extended my degree, got everything I needed out of school. It was a good decision for me. And come back home, get evicted again. If I graduated in May, we got evicted January the next year. So basically it was like, you know, time of struggle. You know, I go off to further my education, go to improve myself, a bunch of other stuff, come back to my situation, you know, thinking, all right, I'm better. I'm in a better mindset, better like state, you know, I've done something other family members haven't done. Maybe I could lift people up and we could like do it together. But the problem is that's a mistake a lot of people make. And as you already know, that did not happen. Essentially, like I said, just keeping it bare minimum, I kind of like ended up being the person that was bearing the brunt of everything, which, you know, because I'm reliable, because I make things happen, because like as my friend says to me, and he wasn't one person that used me, but it's how he describes me. He describes me as somebody that like refuses to die. If I'm going to make something happen, I'm going to do it come hell or high water. So like my family, was my mom, my sister, eventually, especially my mom, kind of took advantage of that. And long story short, evicted again. I lost money, a bunch of other stuff, blah, 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 blah. And well, I pretty much hit my fucking mode, right? And decided, well, at that second eviction, you know what, man, I'm living out the car. I'm done with this shit. I'm resetting my life. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm just do me, because what the fuck? I'm already spent all my money, right? I just spent money trying to help y'all out and everything. My bank account's in the negatives. What did I do all this for? So now I'm going to spend money, more money, to live in a spot that I didn't have no control over. What am I going to rent a room? I'm going to go to another extended stay? No, fuck this. I'm living in my vehicle. Nobody talk to me, right? That's pretty much where my mindset was at the time. And all that is like, even though for me, it was more on a very rash and impulsive type way of doing it. Like my first night sleeping in the car was, well, if you've seen my videos, it's, I didn't have the window shade back there. I don't know if this shows up. Yeah, I didn't have those until a week and a half ago.
Been being in a car like how I am right now. It's a hot day. There's no tents on here. I'm not really blocking out any of the heat, any of the UV rays or any of that.
I had my windows, like no privacy. I had no privacy or anything. I just didn't give a fuck. And the cops haven't really bothered me. I've had that knocked like 3 or 4 times, and those like times where I accidentally fell asleep. No, I've done this in a very like raw way, just because it was like just the whole, man, fuck it. And here and there, I kind of like tried to document it and things. So getting like back to the point, I did this like in a very like impulsive type way, just me doing what I want. And part of me like doing it in such a raw way was just like my mentality, you know, of like I just said, like, whatever, okay, it's whatever happens, happens. I couldn't care less anymore. And that's actually something that was a learning thing, to be honest. And what I mean by learning is letting go and caring less. This isn't like me trying to grieve on my family or anything. This is like, we've actually had conversations, we've talked since then. We had a conversation recently, like, I think December or November. It was November, you know, like a big like sit down talk, me, my mom, my sister, you know, like 2 friends that are like mediating over the phone. Like it was very positive. So please don't see it as that. But having separated myself from everybody and situations and even living like this, you know, and being forced to let go of things because with this, I don't have access to like my stuff anymore. You know, the old George Carlin joke of like how, you know, human life is basically us just, you know, collecting stuff. We get homes to put our stuff in. We go on vacation, we bring our stuff, but we don't know which stuff. Like, I didn't have access, or I don't have access to my stuff. Like, I have a lot of stuff. I have workstations and, you know, video games and art supplies because I'm an artist by nature and other stuff, right? I didn't have access to my stuff. And not having my stuff kind of actually taught me what I really need and don't need, as well as, you know, being away from people, being basically resetting my life. It got rid of the white noise, you know, the static of society and everybody else. Living just out of these 4 doors and a 2.5 liter engine, right? It taught me, one, what you don't need. I can't even say how to survive because I've been surviving since a child, but tell me like what I don't need and whatnot. But 2, it gave me control that I've never really had before. And when it comes to like our current housing situation and everything else, sitting on the outside and looking like at everybody else, it also kind of showed how fucked this situation that we are in, we're really in. And here's what I mean. I'm gonna give a breakdown. I kind of gave a breakdown on my New Year's resolution video, but I'm gonna do it again. So 2022, I towards the tail end of 2022, I worked a lot, like nonstop. And then going into 2023, I was working a lot too. So I was working a lot, eviction happens, I'm still working a lot. Destroyed myself, right? And some of my beginning videos where I just started documenting this after I got completely fed up, started living out the car, you can see like how big I am. So I did a video like talking about like surviving the summer. I have a lot of body fat because I wasn't exercising or anything and I was just eating, right? You know, working and eating, barely sleeping.
The weather's not my best trait. And right now it's even worse because I'm slightly overweight, got a little bit of moods forming and everything.
Around June of 2023, it's actually July, I to say, I started working out again. And then towards the end of the year, started focused on working nonstop again because holidays, you make some money. All this is important. When 2024 happened, I pulled back from everything. And I had the ability to pull back from everything because I didn't have rent. These rent prices are astronomically stupid. Not just the rent prices, also know how much money people are making or not making. Like I work, so I have a steady stream of income. But not having to stress and, you know, budget for, you know, just to pay rent to survive, that allowed me for 2024 just to reset. Like 2023 was my recovery and 2024 was my rebound. I hung out with friends more in 2024. I virtually lived in the gym. Even like just picked and choose when I wanted to work. Sometimes my bank account had 50 bucks in it, $100. And I was like, cool, I don't care. Sometimes it had $5 or even 3 cents. And I was like, hey, my bills are paid. Is my car note paid? Yes. My car insurance is paid? Yes. Is my gym fee paid? Because that's where I wash up and shower and everything. And like I said, I was kind of just living in the gym because I was fixing my body from all the damage I had done from just working nonstop. Had a lot of deficiencies in my hips and, you know, abductors and glutes and all that stuff. I got to sit, save back, relax, and, you know, just do me. When I want, whenever I want, how I want. And I had a lot of conversations with people like, no, that live in a car. They're like, oh, when are you gonna go back to living this way? Or like, you know, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? And I was like, man, I'm doing this because I'm happy. I'm chill. I actually found a way to like control my destiny the way I want to control it without having, you know, the greater society pretty much throw me around, which up until that point is the American experience for a lot of all of us. Part of it was because of my, you know, the family situation. But even with that, part of the reason like my mom, it was like that is because of the greater society. And, you know, not really, I want to say not even not knowing how to navigate it, but how it can affect your mental state and other stuff. You know, I'm not trying to get too personal with it. But throughout that, I learned peace, right? Learned peace, started doing a YouTube channel and everything else. There were struggles though. I had times back in, you know, 2023 where I did feel like everything was going wrong at times. Where, like I said, when I was still working hard and everything and, you know, like helping my family and other stuff, I was like, yo, everything's just still going down. Like how? I'm living out of the car. Why do I have no money or whatnot?
And I was thinking about everything that was going fucking wrong while watching these people, because here I am, fairly intelligent, got myself a degree, worked super hard, had all these visions and plans for life and everything and whatnot, and none of it happened. None of it worked. Even like, you know, trying to get my family to listen to me and hop on my back, like we don't always have to do this dumb shit and yada, yada, yada. Y'all just have to listen to me for once. Stop trying to do things your way and listen to me. Like, I pay attention, I observe. Y'all know this. Observation has always been one of my greatest skills. We're going to copy, or not copy, but we're going to emulate what other people do. We're going to work together. We're going to get a house. We're going to get a place. We're not going to be in these motels anymore and whatnot. I got this. Just listen. Like, that was all the things I was trying to do while going through school and everything. And none of that happened. None of that. And here I am, muggy, hot, chilling in a car, and I'm just seeing all this shit. I'm like, I failed. I really fucking failed.
Right? It was learning to reset, like learning to distance myself, learning to separate myself and everything, which basically living like this forced me to do, is when I, went from the recovery to rebound phase. But at the same time, even though that all sounds great and grandiose and everything, I understand there are people who are not in the same situation. As I said in the beginning, back in 2023, when I was like, oh, more people are going to be living like this, it was inevitable. There was an inevitable outcome. Here's what I mean, right? Right now, I'm sitting in this parking lot. This is in Trenton, New Jersey. Right down the road from where I'm at, the homes are about the rent is $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, depending on the type of building you're getting, depending on who the landlord is. The average income for a single person is only $29,000 a year. If you're a single person, you're paying 35, 40 to 50% of your yearly income just on rent alone. And that doesn't even count for the fact that a lot of landlords don't cover utilities anymore. So spending that on rent and then spending that on utilities as well. Back when I first just rage quit, that stuff was in the back of my mind. And it was like, I can't justify doing this. I just blew all my money helping people. And now I'm supposed to blow all my money for rent over something that I can't even control. If it goes up, I can't control that. If I don't get the lease renewed, I can't control that. In fact, a friend of mine currently right now is going through that. I'm not really going to give too much of his personal details, but he's over in the New York region, right? He's up there. And he moved up there after graduation and everything, and for his career, to get his career started. Unfortunately, as we all know, COVID and everything else kind of got in the way in a lot of that. So he's one of the many struggling people out there. Works his ass off, hustles, doing everything, walking dogs, taking service jobs and restaurants, trying everything just to get by to pay his rent. Sometimes he was behind on his rent, but still managed to pay it. He finally landed a stable job. Finally, can afford his rent, can afford everything. Because of the fact that he had been late, his landlord refused to renew. In fact, his landlord didn't just refuse to renew, his landlord was accusing him of actually hiding money and, things of that regard, thinking that he's accusing him of stealing, not really trying to pay up, and et cetera. So even though now he finally has a job, he's finally not on hard times anymore, his situation is still the same, because now he has to look for a new place to stay before his lease is up, and which I think is in March or so. I don't remember the time frame, but it's coming up soon. It's like things like that you have no control over. Meanwhile, the prices aren't going down. Wherever he lives at is going to be more expensive. And it's because of that. It's like, how do you manage to thrive? I can honestly say I've learned how to thrive. In a limited space, yes, but thrive nonetheless. I've been able to do things the way I want, how I want, and while being able to pay my bills, because I did have bills. Thank you, family. Even though we talk, I still got a little bit of a grudge there because that made me mad. But, thrive the way I want to thrive. And I got back into shape. Now, right now, I'm a little bit on the tubby side, but truth be told, I was eating good during the holidays. I'm working again. making holiday money and eating cakes and pastries. But one thing that wasn't influencing that? Depression. So many Americans are depressed right now because of this, and I can't blame them. Having housing insecurity can be stressful. Living in those motels while in school, I won't lie, was a very stressful situation. Like, school was when I was at my happiness, but when I would leave and come back, I was stressed out of my mind. I was stressed out of my mind when I was in school, like trying to figure out, all right, what am I going to do? How am I going to, survive? How much money can I make? Like, I worked throughout the entire time I did that and paid my way through, and pretty much every cent I made went towards school. So I know what it's like. I understand the depressive aspect of it, and just having absolutely zero control, like your housing, even with rent control, as there have been stories of people who live in rent controlled buildings. And what does the owner do? Especially if it's a new owner, they renovate. Extended renovations. They can't kick the person out, so they just do renovations that last for months. And then the person eventually, needs to live somewhere, so they move out. And then suddenly that unit that was rent controlled isn't really rent controlled anymore. Like, there's loopholes for this shit. So as much as, over these last 2 years, especially, I would say the last quarter over the 2 years, it has been more positive for me. Things have gone up. I'm in a great mental state just because I'm kind of like built for this. I don't mind doing it. I understand how people feel that are forced into this. And with the current situation we have with, the clown show being back and, Elon going, feel my fear, oh, Lord, it's only going to get worse. Worse than it is now, worse than it was back in 2023, worse than it was back during COVID. It's only going to get worse. Like, even for myself, knowing that it's going to get worse, I tell myself, I'm gonna transition out of this, right? I'm going to, like, during summer, actually, get an apartment and things and go back to normal living, because I do miss doing dumb shit. I do miss the ability just to hop on my laptop or my workstation and just do whatever I want artistically, do some artistic practices, do something absolutely batshit dumb like this. But that just comes with life and everything, I would rather have my freedom and my money, my free will, rather than just being a wage slave. It doesn't sit right with me spending my very finite time, because I have a limited time on this earth. I have a limited time being the person that I am. It doesn't sit right with me to spend my blood, sweat, and tears just to make ends meet, to be a, slave to society. And that's like the biggest revelation I've had out of all of this, is that not having that control, right? I'm not saying people shouldn't contribute to society or anything, even though I do feel some type of way about the social contract, because it was against your will, but that's neither here nor there. Not having that control is kind of keeps people as, as wage slaves. If you're spending about 50%, 60% of your income on just trying to keep your shelter above your head, then that means you're forced to work. And if you're forced to work, that means your job can, especially if you have kids or, people that you take care of, like, parents that are on disability or friends that are your guardian is something or somebody or somebody's, like multiple. Your job now has control over you as well. They control your destiny in a way. They control what you do, because they could just always dangle over your head, hey, we'll fire you. Which is something I was talking about in my series of car talks that I was doing previously before I, kind of like took a break because I was working. You know, the basic toxic managers, toxic jobs, and everything. And, you know, all of this is like related into itself. And like being like this, I ain't worried about a job or a toxic manager. I mean, I was never really worried about them to begin with. I'm that coworker that is professional but doesn't give a fuck. I could get a new job because I'm good with money, but you can't dangle that over my head. I got this. You know, you can't tell me, oh, I'm just going to raise your rent. You know, I got this. And this isn't permanent, right? This also doesn't mean it doesn't have its faults or, you know, it's a risk because if somebody crashes into it or it catches on fire or something, you know, just like an actual house, hey, that's all she wrote. But that element of freedom and control, it's something that even as I tell myself that I'm willing to transition out of it, that I'm going to transition out of it, it's hard to actually start pulling that trigger. Because when you have like complete happiness and have complete control of everything and, you know, just feel that, you know, your life is, I keep using the word, I don't like using words too much, but your life is your destiny. It's in your hands. Like powerful rich people, it's hard to give up that element. No, it's hard to give up something that you have power over. And that's right now what I'm kind of struggling with, because truth be told, I kind of just feel like, you know, buying a big old SUV, like a Tahoe or a Sequoia or a Suburban, or maybe even just like a work van, and fixing that interior out, gutting all the seats and everything besides the driver's side, and turning that into like my little headquarters while still keeping this as my daily driver. Part of me wants to do that, because part of me is like, why would I go to a landlord? Especially when landlords are kind of parasites. Like, giving another example, my sister, she finally just moved out of a place. And the place where she was living in, the landlord was a slumlord. The landlord was actually somebody that came into a lot of money. They won the lottery. And what did they do with that? They won the lottery, bought a building, and immediately became a fucking slumlord. It's like, wow, you can't win. The system is just how it is. And also, so it's like, when you hear things like people on podcasts and television talk about their real estate assets and how real estate is known as a system of generational wealth, there's also the flip side of it. Where's that wealth coming from? Oh, it's just draining people dry of their blood like a vampire. Just because you had access to money. That lady didn't do anything besides buy some tickets and win the probability. That was it. That's how she now has sustainable wealth. That's how she now has, you know, passive income. She won the fucking lottery and is charging like $1,300 for a place in downtown Trenton. City, small town, where once again, the median income is about $29,000 for a single adult. Yeah, when you know that, it's hard to go back. It's hard to look at my bank account and separate what I worked hard for to give to people like that. Or, you know, the many LLCs that exist now, or the, you know, property management companies, or these so-called luxury apartments that are only a luxury because they have the word luxury in their name. They're like $2,000 for plaster and maybe an elevator. There's actually a TikTok of a guy, hopefully I can find him, I'm gonna throw it in here. There's a TikTok of a guy who was in a luxury apartment and just showing all the mold and leaks that he had. And once he exposed them, they sent him a letter saying they won't be renewing the lease. It was like, of course. Like, when you know all this stuff and you see all this stuff, and like I said, and you just can get up, wash your clothes, work out, like do the normal things that you was able to do in regular life, minus, a few, like having the amenities, can't cook whenever I want. Well, let me take that back. I choose not to have all the accessories and things so I can cook and other things like other people do, just because I don't really feel like having extra stuff on me. I already have enough stuff. Like my trunk isn't even organized. Hell, I'll even show that. Like, yeah, this is bad. I gotta fix it, but gym stuff, clean clothes. There's so much room back there, but yeah, I don't mind showing that, full disclosure, like I'm living my truth, so it is what it is. I do need to fold my things up using military style folding to create more room, but I can't cook whenever I want. I love to throw down in the kitchen. Like I said, I can't play video games and stuff. I can't even work out whenever I want. Like say if I just wanted to do push-ups in my room or, just do like yoga in my room, obviously I would have to go outside or go to the gym. So there are sacrifices, but if there's a will, there's a way. And I've sacrificed and made it work. But the positives that came out of that, can I give it up? Can I take what I earned and give it to somebody else that doesn't earn it and just suffer? Especially after these tax cuts and everything that are coming. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one. But with all that said, I'm alive. I have my health. I have my mind, I'm doing good for myself, surviving. The worst thing I'm worried about right now is the fact that I'm having a bad hair day because I've lost probably 2 or 3 locks and I have to get my retwist. And those are my real worries. Besides, having to change the battery in this car because it's pretty much kaput. Its cells are gone. I don't really have many worries these days. I've found my zen. And that's pretty much what these 2 years have been. Basically been like the accumulation of everything I've been through in life. Ups and downs, struggles, being broke, toxic family, people passing away throughout my life, which I talked about in the New Year's resolution video, like just a lot of stuff. And finally, being able to take control of everything, let go of things, and ultimately just find my zen. Live in the moment, be of the world, but not in the world for the most part. For the most part, there's still things that, I am very much part of society of and stuff. But for the most part, I've learned to pull back and just live. And I don't know if I would be in the same mind frame if it wasn't for doing this. So with that, that's the video. I have some other ones coming up. One I'm talking about with Speed Booster, because I'm gonna start talking about gear more, and then some field tests and other things. I'll let those videos speak for themselves because I'm really gonna try to start, pushing the stuff videos out now, which is kind of the reason where I'm gonna have to stop living like this because I need the workstation, which has been in storage and other stuff. But this was an experience. It's been, like I said, it's been positive. Learned a lot, and I would do it again. And if you're somebody that made it this far, you're going through the same thing and everything, just know, you can do it. You can make it work for you. Some things you're gonna have to let go. It's especially if you're not used to struggle or anything, it's going to be I don't know if the word wake-up calls is the proper term. It's going to be a culture, not even culture shock. It's going to be a change. There we go. It's just going to be a change in your life. And it's going to be jarring even. But there is greener pastures, is what I'm trying to say. You can take control of this shit and move on to bigger and better things that you're meant to do. But anyways, I'm out. Deuces as always, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.